You all are in for a little treat. I know most of the time I do the talking, but I have a really good friend of mine by the name of Bob Mewson, who teaches an art class very similar to what we do, but it's only a weekend class, and it's called the Painting Workshop. And he's an interesting artist. He's the father of Susanna, for those of you who know Susanna. And he's a professional artist, been doing it all of his life. In Monterey, they have a army base that they've shut down, and for a while they let artists use all of the spaces. So he rented one of the spaces there, and there was a desk in the room from the old army, and they used to teach classes there, and apparently there must have been a class in that particular room on creative painting or being creative. And in that desk was an old cassette. Now, back in the day, you guys remember cassettes? This was an old cassette that was left in the desk, and he just so happened to be in that studio, and he happened to come across this particular old cassette. The old cassette was probably done in the late 50s, and you can hear when you listen to it, it sounds like the old films that we used to watch in school, you know, back when they used to have films back in the day. I know it seems like we're so old. Back in the day, we used to watch films in school with the old-fashioned kind. And then they were always like narrated by some stale person in another room, you know, and it's usually like, this is war, this is what war is, be afraid. So anyway, this has that kind of voice on it, but it's on being creative. And it was rescued by him. I don't know if this exists anywhere else but right here. And so you guys are in for a treat. It's only about 5 minutes long, and it's done to Peter and the Wolf, but it specifically deals with instruction, how to get instruction, how to be an artist, you know, what it takes, why we stop being an artist. And so it's a really good little few minutes. So I want to play it for you because it's really kind of fun. Let's hope it works.
Once a little boy went to school. He was quite a little boy, and it was quite a big school. But when the little boy found that he could go to his room by walking right in from the door outside, he was happy, and the school did not seem quite so big anymore. One morning, when the little boy had been in school a while, the teacher said, "Today we are going to make a picture." Good, thought the little boy. He liked to make pictures. He could make all kinds. Lions and tigers, chickens and cows, trains and boats. And he took out his box of crayons and began to draw. But the teacher said, "Wait. It is not time to begin." And she waited until everyone looked ready. "Now," said the teacher, "we're going to make flowers." Good, thought the little boy. He liked to make flowers, and he began to make beautiful ones with his pink and orange and blue crayons. But the teacher said, "Wait, and I will show you how." And it was red with a green stem. "There," said the teacher, "now you may begin." The little boy looked at the teacher. Then he looked at his own flower. He liked his flower better than the teacher's, but he did not say this. He just turned his paper over and made a flower like the teacher's. It was red with a green stem. On another day, when the little boy had opened the door from the outside all by himself, The teacher said, "Today we are going to make something with clay." Good, thought the little boy. He liked clay. But the teacher said, "Wait. It is not time to begin." And she waited until everyone looked ready. "Now," said the teacher, "we are going to make a dish." Good, thought the little boy. He liked to make dishes, and he began to make some that were all shapes and sizes. But the teacher said, "Wait, and I will show you how." And the teacher showed everyone how to make one deep dish. "There," said the teacher, "now you may begin." The little boy looked at the teacher's dish. Then he looked at his own. He liked his dishes better than the teacher's, but he did not say this. He just rolled his clay into a big ball again and made a dish like the teacher's. It was a deep dish. And pretty soon, the little boy learned to wait, and to watch, and to make things just like the teacher. And pretty soon, he didn't make things of his own anymore. Then it happened that the little boy and his family moved to another house in another city. And the little boy had to go to another school. This school was even bigger than the other one, and there was no door from the outside into his room. He had to go up some big steps and walk down a long hall to get to his room. And the very first day he was there, the teacher said, "Today we are going to make a picture." Good, thought the little boy. And he waited for the teacher to tell him what to do. But the teacher didn't say anything. She just walked around the room. When she came to the little boy, she said, "Don't you want to make a picture?" "Yes," said the little boy. "What are we going to make?" "I don't know until you make it," said the teacher. "How shall I make it?" asked the little boy. "Why, any way you like," said the teacher. "If everyone made the same picture and used the same colors, how would I know who made what and which was which?" "I don't know," said the little boy. And he began to make a red flower with a green stem.
Anyway, I just think that's incredibly apropos for art classes in general. Some of you suffer from this syndrome still, when you think about it. It's like you get all set up and you're ready to go, you've got your picture, and I'll look across the room and I'll go, "Start." And then all of a sudden I go, "I don't know what to do." I know, that's kind of what you expect in art classes. It's kind of what you expect art classes to be. But that's kind of trained in us. When you think about little children, when they start learning how to draw, there is no instruction. There is nothing. It's completely freeing. So you give a kid a pile of papers and some crayons, they just can create. And a lot of you have friends that you wish they could come into art classes so they could experiment and try things that's really exciting, and they'll tell you, "I don't have no talent." But can you imagine a 4-year-old turning around and saying, "I have no talent"? I mean, they are talentful. You ask a 4-year-old, "Let's dance." And they go, "What do you want to dance?" And they go, "I don't know, let's make it up." "Good, let's just go ahead and make it up." And so you can and let's put some words to it. And they'll make up a song, and it won't make sense, but they'll have a lot of fun doing it. You tell them, "Let's go and play, let's go and draw something. What do you want?" "I don't know." The kid will say, "Let me draw my family." You go, "Great. little kid, you know, so they'll start mom, pop, little dog, you know, all this stuff. So as children, we have this wonderful sense of freedom. But then all of a sudden somebody comes in, usually an adult or a parent, and it's not their fault. In this particular tape, you heard the teacher coming in because that's her job. Her job is to tell everybody, okay, wait. Now, the kid already had some ability to draw. He would draw flowers, endless flowers, or create endlessly with clay. No problem, didn't need instruction. What would happen if you had that ability as a child to be creating with non-stop, unstoppable creativity? What could you actually create in a space like that? Now, what happens oftentimes when you're 3, 4 years old, you'll start creating like that. And at a certain age, your mom or dad or uncle will come in and they'll go, "Oh, Tommy, what are you doing?" And Tommy will turn around and say, "Well, I'm drawing horses." And the parent will say, "Well, those don't look like horses, they look more like dogs. Horses have longer legs. And horses aren't purple. They're brown or black, right?" So to a little kid at that point, to them it sounds like critiquing. To the parents it sounds like helpful coaching. When kids are really young, they don't understand what coaching is. They have not a clue. It's not until they're 6 or 7 that they get that the teachers are trying to teach the children something. At a really early age, they don't want to be judged. And, you know, art is one of the very few things that they control at that time that they can do. That immediately when parents try to foster that into them by telling them that horses' legs are longer and they're not purple, they're brown. The kids don't look at that as criticism or a critique to help them. They look at it as being judged. And if all of you know about little kids, they don't like to be judged, and they definitely don't like to disappoint. So it's a lot easier for them at that point not to draw or paint at all. So at a very early age, that freedom, that creativity is taken away. And almost every one of you has suffered at some point. Had it not been your parents, it would have been like with the school teacher, just doing her job. But the issue is, at some point, it's like mathematics and anything else, you start waiting around to be told what to do. And in my classes, I have the same syndrome. I have students that come in with expectations, and they sit there and I go, "Okay, well, begin." And they go, "I don't know what to do." I mean, does it really matter? There are so many styles, so many techniques, so many ways that I could show you my way of doing something, but then you'll be doing it my way. Well, but the thing is, what would you do if you were absolutely unbridled? You know, what would Joan do if Joan could just create without worrying about whether it looked good or looked bad? Oftentimes I hear a lot of students in class that they kind of put themselves down, or they say, "Oh, I have no talent," or "I don't have," or "It doesn't look right." And I wonder, where is that coming from? Because I'll come up and look at it and go, "You know, it actually looks pretty good." And they'll go, "No, it's not." And I mean, I actually argue with them, and I go, "No, it looks good." "No, it doesn't." I mean, it's almost like talking to a 4-year-old, you know? And it's like, they're like, "No, it's not right." It's like, yes, no, it's good. Because I don't judge it for like whether or not it looks like the thing. In fact, art isn't about mimicking the thing you're trying to paint. Art is interpreting what you see through your own body and creating it the way you see it, not like a camera. A camera totally doesn't discriminate. We, as people, every one of us is unique. Every one of us has a way of filtering. And part of our filter is our childhood, our past, our teachers. all of the people that you've been in contact with relating to art, actually relating to anything, spits out at the end who you are right now. And for the most part, most of you are incredibly thinking human beings that have wonderful thoughts. And you're fearful to put them down, or you're waiting for somebody, like in this particular instance, to show you how to do it. But what if you just started doing it without an idea of what to do, and be pleasantly surprised on the other end? What if I came over and I said, you know, I've never thought, in fact, most of the things I teach have been because I've had students that didn't know better. I have learned more from students that didn't know better than I have from learning in books. Because they will attempt to do something completely opposite from the way that I would. And is that wrong or right? My way of painting is my way of painting, and not everybody is pleased by the way I paint. Some people wish to paint like me, but unfortunately, those people will never obtain that because I went through a different childhood. You know, I had European parents. I had, you know, lived up in Lake Tahoe. I was exposed to woodlands. You know, a lot of you grew up in the city. A lot of you grew up in India. You know, what do you know of high mountain lakes with trees? And, you know, it's like, it's an entirely different environment. But you all have your history. And it's being creative to filter that and to express that makes us unique as artists.